So who are you and what do you do?
My name is Kevin Pace. I am a First Nations artist. I live in Saskatoon, and I've been doing this full time for since 1995. So going on 27 years. Yeah.
And what is your connection to Wanuskewin?
Um, I have done multiple shows at the park. Not since it was open, but definitely in the early years. I can't remember how many shows I did here. And I've done workshops as well with kids, visitors, and I brought my kids to the park here a lot, and a lot of good memories. It was it's a beautiful place. Just being in the atmosphere and the environment, and I know Dr. Walker as well. I used to take classes at the university with him, and so I really have a lot of respect for the work that they do when it comes to archaeology and the history. And so I can relate to that. And archaeology is actually one of my other favorite pastimes, and yeah, so.
And where did your style of art come from? It's very, people know about it, especially in Saskatoon, I feel.
Yeah, so back in the year 2000, so that's going back about 22 years now, had I had an opportunity one time. I showed my grandmother, my late grandmother, Delvina Q-Step. She comes from Yellowquill. I showed her some of the artwork that I did, and she had encouraged me to pursue something that was more cultural, more just, even just a hint of it, of just, and she'd explained that the culture was, long, rich history, very traditional, and the colors reflect that from a lot of the beadwork that you've done, and so I thought, you know what, I think there's a way I can bridge that somehow, and I don't do beadwork. I don't, I don't have the, not the patience. Yeah, I guess the patience for it, but the skill to do it. Um, but I do have other skills with the brushes, the colors, working with the paint. And so I naturally thought, okay, well, there's the perfect bridge right there. And she had drew out some designs on paper for me one time, and told me to try these out and just put it on there slowly, like just, and I did. I got a lot of examples of early work that I've done since 2000. So it was right around the time when she had advised me on that. So I do have a lot of pieces out there from that period. So it looked like it could go somewhere. I didn't know where. I didn't know how to pursue it. I think as long as I just kept at it, I would find a way to bring it out more and more and more and more. And that's what happened. It was literally an explosion of the ideas finally came out, and it was definitely something unique. I knew I had created something that was not the same as any other artist. There might be some similarities, but not really. There was, you know, when I see other artwork that other First Nations artists are doing, and I look at it from the perspective of like form and color, composition, all these ideas in art, but it doesn't resemble anything that I've seen from other artists, and so I thought, okay, well, you know, this is this is the kind of calling that as an artist you need to take advantage of. Like, you need to be, when it happens, it's going to happen fast, so you have to make sure that you catch it, or else it's gone. And so I happened to be at the right place at the right time, and it was and that's where it came out of. And yeah, it's still, it's getting bigger and better, and I'm finding new ways to make it evolve.
So you've got kind of two different styles, and there's one style that's very colorful and the one that people probably recognize the most, but you also have some pieces that are a little bit darker.
Yes.
And we have a piece in our collection, Buffalo Woman,
Yeah.
that is definitely one of the darker pieces.
Yeah.
So what are the inspirations or the intentions behind those sort of pieces?
I was commissioned by the park to do a painting that was representative of the park, but to include women somehow. So I have in my life surrounded by a lot of great women that have been there sort of as support, like my grandmother, for instance. And the support she gives was cultural. She was very knowledgeable. She knew lots about plants and healing and medicines. And that's a lot of knowledge that when she had passed on, you know, that died with her. And so another one was my mother, my late mother. She raised me for practically my whole life, and she was like the center of my world. And when she had passed away, it was pretty devastating. And it was earlier in my life as well, and so trying to find the strength for that part of the journey. She had prepared me well to continue, I guess. So, and you know, and my wife, and you know, being able to bear children and have two beautiful daughters and a son. And now I got 3 grandkids. I got 2 granddaughters. So definitely there's a line of having women in my life that's quite prevalent, I guess. And so when I did the piece for Waniskeowin, that's what I thought about was, having to honor women, I guess. And that's what, mainly that's what the piece is about, was honoring them. And the history of the park. It looks dark. The painting looks really dark, and it's just the choice of colors that I used for it. But the style is also dark. I've done multiple paintings. I did an exhibition just based on that particular style of paintings, and every single one of those pieces they were all different. They're just different people. It's like, wow, who are these people? Some people ask, and it's just like, well, I don't know, they just come from the mind, and I create them, but every single one is different, so I can't really, but they each have their own life, and they're each unique, but it was a fun piece to do for them, and yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it actually. I haven't seen it for a while, so I'm sure if I seen it, I'd talk more about it. But, based on my memory of it, it's so. Yeah.
And what do you see the role of art in reconciliation today?
That's a good one. I think back about 20 years ago, and I did work with schools. I started to do work with schools, doing projects, and my relationship with reconciliation can go back that far, and I seen the benefits of what it's like to be able to change the minds, and to sort of mold the young people. And doing these projects allowed me to do that. And I knew even back then that it was more than just doing the projects that were fun, but I was always asked about the purpose of them. And my response back then was always the same. And it was sort of rebuilding, I guess, or repairing our relationship. And over the years, as these projects started expanding more and more and more, and I was getting out to more classes, more schools, more students, it was, I never lost sight of that. And that was always the purpose to do those projects like that, was I guess for the purposes of reconciliation. They worked really well. They were really successful, and they still are. As a matter of fact, I'm doing 3 projects right now, and a lot of them are based on reconciliation, and how can we use art as part of it. And I think the perfect example is the community of Humboldt. I just got a project with them to do outdoor mural somewhere in their town. But it's based on reconciliation. They're applying for a grant for it, but it's just, you know, we had some Zoom meetings with students, and you know, I'm trying to set them up in the right frame of mind to figure out, you know, how can we address the issue of reconciliation. And you know, I know that a lot of those students are just so young that, you know, they don't know what they're reconciling about, you know, and it's a new concept. But that doesn't excuse them from not participating in these projects and to build a better understanding. So it's important to do these projects, art projects, with them, because they need to understand that, you know, they're in a relationship with First Nations people, and you know, they live off the land, you know, they work off the land, you know, they hunt and they fish, and you know, we all need to share the land, and that's part of the relationship that needs to be repaired. And a lot of it, we can make a difference in all sorts of ways. And for me, it's art that does that, and it makes sense because, you know, I'm working with kids that are from grade 3 and 4 all the way to grade 8 these days, and it's the perfect time to sort of influence their thinking and their ideas, and to show them that, you know, we're good people, you know, we're just, you know, everybody, we all need to help each other. So that's the importance of it. So, good question though, I like that. I guess going through the pandemic was, and it still is a challenge for a lot of artists. And you know, we've all had those same challenges, and we need to learn how to adapt to those challenges. So I hope that a lot of the artists out there that are working, you know, continue to keep it up. And I just want to say that, you know, I'm there for them too if they ever need help, and you know, just it's I don't want to see good dreams and good artists and good art go to waste because of what the pandemic has brought. But you know, we do need to adapt. It's a different world, but you know, we can still do the work that we're doing. We just need to think about doing it differently. So yeah, that's my part anyway. I developed a workshop video that it actually came out from the pandemic, and I created I was doing them I was doing live Zoom, I guess, workshops last year from January to June, and it was interesting. It was what I discovered was the pandemic created time for people to do things. You know, like they're at home all the time, so naturally they got things to do, and so working on these art workshops was interesting, and then it spread out from there, and it got out across the country, and so I decided to get a video professionally done, which can be accessed on my website. It's not free, unfortunately, but it is an interesting. It's COVID safe and all that. So really, you know, the ideas to do these things came out of the pandemic, but they've been really quite successful. So yeah, and they're slowly getting recognized out there. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, one of the good things about art is that even you can do it while distancing, I guess.
Mhm.
Like we kind of lost the powwows and the Sundances and being around the
Yeah.
community because we couldn't, but there's still things that we can do to feel connected. So it's nice that art is one of those things,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's you know, if anything, the pandemic I think has shown how we need each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for all those people that were out there in the world that, you know, before then, you know, it's not like that anymore. Now, neighbors want to see neighbors, and people want to see their families, and to be around them. That's the important thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't think there's anything else I need to say other than that. But
Cool. I think that's good.